All right, how about creating some ovals and some circles? Well, once again, what I've done here is I've created a brand new blank document to get myself rolling here. Now, what's cool about creating the ovals and the circles is if you just finished learning about how to create rectangles and squares, well, it's really the same thing. So let's get started by going over to the toolbox over on the left-hand side, and I'll go ahead and grab my Ellipse tool there, or hit F7 on your keyboard. And if you'll recall, what I did in the previous lesson before we really got rolling is I zoomed in a little bit, and I'm going to do the exact same thing here. I'm just going to zoom in to about 200% or so, something like that I think is just fine. And then to get yourself started, go ahead and click and drag with your Ellipse tool, and by golly, you got yourself some ovals there. There it is. So just clicking and dragging, that's all there is to it, right? Now, do you remember how to create a perfect square? Well, creating a perfect square and creating a perfect circle are exactly the same process here. I'm going to hold down the Control key on my keyboard and then click and drag. And there you go, you got yourself a perfect circle. So once again, whenever you have that Control key held down on your keyboard, that's going to do the job for you. So hopefully all good. Okay, great. Now, once again, I think what I'll do is I'll select everything on my screen, Control A, and then I'll just hit Delete to get rid of everything. And then don't forget, you saw how to create squares and rectangles from the center, right? So once again, rather than creating these guys from a corner, you can draw them from the center. Do you remember how to do that? All you do is you just hold down your Shift key and then click and drag with your mouse. And that's all there is to it, right? So there you go. You can certainly keep that one in your back pocket for yourself. Okay, wonderful. Don't forget, as you're creating your objects here inside CorelDRAW, keep your eyeballs on your status bar running right across the bottom of your screen, not only while you're drawing your objects there, but also after you've let go of your mouse, after your object has been drawn. So there you go. Okay, now let's take a quick moment and have a look at the properties running across the top of the interface. So what I'll do here is, once again, I'll select everything by hitting Control A on my keyboard, and then I'll hit my Delete key, and I'll draw myself out a new oval or a new circle there before we get to these properties. Something like this. Okay, great. All right, let's head up to the top and have a look. Well, there's that X and Y that we saw earlier. Do you remember what that was? That was your positioning, the horizontal and vertical positioning of your object on your page. So you can monkey with that if you like. And then the next guy over to the right, there's your width for your oval and the height of your oval. And of course, you can come in here and pop in new values if you wish. If you know the exact values that you want to use for your object, you can certainly pop them in there. And then don't forget, you also have the scaling. You can type in a percentage if you wish as well. Now, you can go ahead and rotate your object as well. We saw this earlier with the rectangles. Don't try and rotate a perfect circle. It doesn't seem to really give you much of a result, but so long as you have an oval, it works just fine. And then we also saw the flipping, right? Now, here's a good example of this mirroring effect that I mentioned earlier, right? So there you go. You can certainly monkey with that. Now, the next set of options are extremely cool. We have the enclosed circle here, the ellipse option, but then what we can do is we can create this pie shape. So if you want to create something like this, right? Now, that's this option right here up on the properties bar. And then what you can do is you can control the starting point and the ending point of your pie wedge, if you will. Now, you might want to spend some time and goof around with these guys, because you can really do some cool things here. If you are in a situation where you need to create perhaps some pie charts or, things like this, you can certainly mess around with CorelDRAW to pull off that effect if you wish. The next option over up on the properties bar, by the way, just next door to the pie option, is arc. And that just gives you sort of this outline shape here if you want. Now, I don't have much of a use for that, but you can certainly use that guy if you want. Now, I'm going to go back to the pie option here because I want to show you this fella right here, which instead of giving you how should I explain this? The pie with the missing piece, it would give you the missing piece without the rest of the pie. Does that make sense? So anyway, you can certainly mess around with these options, as I say. Maybe what I'll do is I'll give you sort of a much better example of how this would work here. I'm going to go and grab my pick tool, and then I'll hit delete on my keyboard to get rid of this guy here. There we go. And then what I'll do is I'll go and draw out a perfect circle here for you just by holding down that control key, something like this. And then up to my properties, I'll turn on that pi option, and then I'll flip the pi option, that counterclockwise setting there. There you go, something like that. And again, don't forget, you can control the size or the starting and ending points for your pi wedge if you wish. There you go. Definitely unique to circles and ovals and ellipses here inside CorelDRAW, that pi option. So go ahead and have fun with that one.
To change your